Good evening, beautiful people. We are here with part 21 of Condensed Chaos by Hines. Witches, wizards, warlocks, magicians, maguses, and magi. Let's do this. We are still on the topic of sensitivity, so maybe grab some tissues. It is all too easy to believe that people who share common interests with us will be similar in other ways. This is obviously not the case. If we stop and think about it, but in a live situation, it is easy to forget this and make a mistake without even realizing that you have erred. Again, this relates to the self-other divide. If you are confident and relaxed, then you will be in a better position to be sensitive to the differences of another person and adjust your own behavior accordingly. Sensitivity is useful whenever you are in a situation where you have to pay attention to anything other than your own inner dialogues, whether the other be people, animals, ecosystems, or spirits. The sensitive are the ones who survive. A very practical way in which sensitivity can be developed is to cultivate a danger sense. You might have this sense already, particularly if you are given to wandering around dangerous neighborhoods in inner cities. All too often, we may experience this inner warning and dismiss it, as there may be no logical or rational reason that will uphold the scent of danger. In my own experience, I have found that ignoring the prickings of my danger sense is a mistake. This can apply not only to situations, but to people. This latter is more complex. If you have a sudden perception that someone you have just met is going to be trouble, it can be very difficult to act on that basis when there is no explanation to support it. But I have always found that it is a mistake not to. The danger sense often has an element of prescience to it. The danger may not be immediately present, but it's out there waiting. If you pay attention to your danger sense and learn to trust it, then you will find that at times it expands, becoming an aura of expectation, a foreshadowing that something is about to happen. Such sensitivity is an achievement. It arises as a byproduct of your discipline and awareness. Don't try to explain it or force it to be there. Just listen to it. It might save your or someone else's life. A friend of mine was on a bus with his girlfriend on their way home from a party. Suddenly, they both had the feeling that something undefinable was wrong, and so they did not get off the bus at their usual stop, but at the next one. Walking back home, they passed their usual dropping point, only to find that two cars had collided nearby and flattened the stop sign. Had they left the bus at that point, they could have been killed when the cars collided. Alright, Chapter 4. Another crack in the wall. A key feature of contemporary approaches to magic is the use and exploration of practical techniques, the aim of which is to bring about changes in perception, attitude, and widen our possibilities for action. This requires the development of particular abilities and skills which form the foundations for further work. The old saying that you cannot run before you can walk is particularly apt when it comes to magic, where it is necessary to be able to develop particular skills before one can make the most effective use of techniques which require them. A very basic example of this is just sitting still. If you are unable to sit still and silent, you will not have much success with any magical technique which requires, at the very least, that you sit still. Many core magical training exercises seem trivial or boring. Most of us would probably prefer to do something stimulating and varied rather than sitting in an awkward posture doing nothing. In a way, part of the rationale for such an exercise is that it is boring or seemingly difficult. Such exercises are a way of testing the limits of your achievable reality. You are challenging your inherent resistance to the possibility of change and widening the cracks in the facade of paramount reality. DRAT, which is an acronym. The keys to becoming a magician are relatively simple. So simple, in fact, that people tend to overlook them in search of complex systems of belief and abstraction. An example of such simplicity is the DRAT formula for action. D, discipline. R, relaxation. A, attention. T, transformation. Without discipline, we would not learn. Without discipline, we probably wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. We need discipline to conquer our greatest magical adversary, inertia, which tends to appear in the form of little voices which sway our resolve by arguing that what can be done right now can easily be put off until tomorrow. Yet, while a little discipline helps spur us onwards, too much discipline can actually lead us back into inertia, particularly if the goals we set for ourselves are unrealistic. So discipline requires relaxation if it is to be used well. It is possible to be both relaxed and disciplined simultaneously. For discipline to be effective, we have to be relaxed about it and within it. If we are to be disciplined and relaxed, then we also need to be attentive. Attention is a skill. It is difficult to be attentive to what is happening around us. It is hard to be attentive to our own bodily sensations, behavioral habits, and attitudes. It is very difficult to be attentive of many things simultaneously. To be attentive requires discipline and relaxation. Transformation is the synthesis and outcome of the other three qualities. If we are disciplined, then we transform ourselves. If we are relaxed, we transform ourselves. And if we are attentive, we transform ourselves. Transformation, of course, requires discipline, relaxation, and attention. We're going to stop it there, and we will be back tomorrow with more Condensed Chaos. Have a good night.